Welcome back to the Team Sammy Podcast, episode 4. So, recent events that have happened in the world of Detroit sports. The Lions took down the 49ers a few nights ago, Monday night, to get their 14th win of the season, to set up the game of the year, 14-2 against the Vikings this Sunday night. Pistons won last night to move to, I think, 15-18. Jaden Ivey lost to a horrific injury. Prayers up for him. University of Michigan won their bowl game against Alabama. 2 consecutive wins against Alabama now, after they also beat them in the Rose Bowl a year ago. And, perhaps game of the year in college football, Arizona State comeback, but then loss in overtime to Texas, who will face Ohio State. And then due to the tragedy, Notre Dame, Georgia is happening 2 hours from when I'm recording this. So, but what I really am on here to talk about today is the preview of the Sunday night game coming up this week. Lions, Vikings, 14-2. Winner gets the 1 seed, loser gets the 5 seed. It'll be the first ever 14-win team to play in the wild card. And I am pretty nervous for this game. The Lions defense has been suspect at best, and when you're running Kendall Vildor out there, we saw what happened in the NFC Championship last year, and we've seen what's happened this year. The guy can't cover, he can't cover anything. The Lions run too much man, almost religiously run man. And teams know that. They scheme things up. That Ricky Pearsall, he had a ton of catches, but one catch in particular where it appeared like Terrion Arnold was just burnt down the sideline. No, that was schemed up, a couple of rub routes, some pick routes to get Pearsall wide open. We got young guys out there who aren't going to recognize this stuff, who aren't going to be able to react to this stuff as quickly, and Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. He is. That is just the truth. And Justin Jefferson is a great receiver. So is Jordan Addison. If the Lions continue to run man, they're going to get burnt all day. It's hard to say this. It is hard to admit this, but Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. He's thrown 35 touchdowns. Pro Bowl roster was released today. Darnold was on it. It's just the truth. Pro Bowl kind of is stupid, though, because Kirby Joseph was snubbed. Don't get that. But so was Baker Mayfield. Pro Bowl roster's dumb. Whatever. But still a Pro Bowler nonetheless, Sam Darnold. There's absolutely no pressure by the Lions against the 49ers. Darius Smith has kind of disappeared the last couple of games, and the Lions have just a blatant refusal to consistently blitz anybody. Darnold's not a mobile guy. If you can catch him off guard, he will go down. But I don't anticipate Aaron Glenn running too many blitzes. Lions offense is going to have to carry. I will say in the first game between the two, the Lions fell behind 10-0 in the first quarter and were able to bounce back. But that was also, of course, behind a defense that was still sporting Carlton Davis, Aleem McNeil, among others, that was actually able to get stops every once in a while and was able to get the punter on the field to get the ball back. Because the Vikings, they also have a pretty good defense as well. I think we can all admit Brian Flores should be a head coach in the NFL, but is stuck being a coordinator because the Dolphins are idiots. I'm not going to pick the Vikings to win the game. I'm not going to. I physically can't do that. But I think it'll be really close. Right now, I'd say 41-35 Lions. If you want to throw in an overtime final, do it. I wouldn't blame you. I find a hard time seeing a way the Lions can get really more than 2 stops on defense, especially with the news, or not really news, I don't know, I saw something on Twitter that Alex Anzalone is not expected to be able to return this week. That sucks, because the run defense has dwindled a lot without consistent linebacker play. It was great seeing Jalen Reeves-Maven be able to step in last week, him finally getting healthy, to go along with Jack Campbell, of course, who's had an excellent season. And also the first meeting between the Lions and Vikings, the Vikings didn't have T.J. Hawkinson. T.J. Hawkinson, overrated, not the best tight end, but he is still just another body that you're going to have to cover. And George Kittle was able to find holes all over the place in the middle of the field. Kirby Joseph, his second interception, I think that was targeted for Kittle. It might have been Pearsall. Again, I was at the game, didn't have the best view of it, but Kirby Joseph did have a nice interception, jumping a route right over the middle. But other than that, every throw over the middle that Purdy had was just right there for him, wide open with time. So that I'm pretty concerned that, again, Justin Jefferson, incredible route runner, incredible hands, incredible size. I mean, the dude should have a field day. He has torched the Lions the last few times playing, even though it hasn't resulted in Vikings wins. He has still come to feast. If the Lions get the 5 seed, they're not going to the Super Bowl. It's not going to happen. They need a week to heal up. They need a week to rest. If they get the 5 seed, they're going to have to go play at Tampa. Presumably. There's no way Atlanta ends up getting the winning the division. There's no way. Tampa's, I think, 15-point favorites against the Saints. They're not losing that game. One of the Lions' 2 losses this year was a home game to the Bucs. Going on the road, going to be pretty difficult. At least it'll be guaranteed warm weather, but it's a team that has given the Lions trouble in the past. Last year in the divisional, they actually kept up a lot better than a lot of people thought they would be able to. And if the Lions win that game, I mean, I'm assuming the 6-seeded Packers are going to win theirs. The Lions probably end up having to travel to Philly, which is the actual best team in the NFC. Even though the Vikings in this scenario will have had the 1 seed, they're not the best team in the NFC. It would be the Eagles going at Philly, and then the next week going at Minnesota. I mean, at Tampa, at Philly, at Minnesota is the toughest imaginable route to a Super Bowl, and that's probably what's going to happen if the Lions end up losing this Sunday. Of course, if they win, they get the bye, an extra week to rest, probably play Green Bay. It's still going to be a really tough game. Packers, you've seen them twice now. Never going to be easy the third time. I mean, you look at Brady's Super Bowl run with the Bucs. They played the Saints in the wild card. Saints had beaten them twice, pretty handily twice in the regular season. And then Brady ends Breeze's career. It just right there in the wild card. Nobody saw it coming. It's always, I mean, you're either playing the Packers or you're playing, I mean, if they happen to lose, you're playing 5-seeded Vikings. I mean, you're going to be playing a division rival, most likely, whether it's Green Bay or Minnesota, for the third time in the or in the divisional. If you get the 1 seed, which is going to be tough, and then Philly, the Lions struggle with mobile quarterbacks. They just do. Even though that game will be a home game, in this scenario, if the Lions get the 1 seed, it's really tough to imagine them beating Philly without a completely healthy defense. Now, of course, there's a chance, if that's the NFC Championship, there's a chance Aiden Hutchinson comes back. But again, if this guy's coming back, it's probably going to be a little bit rushed. You have no idea what he's going to look like. Is he going to look like, I don't know, Al-Quadin Muhammad and get 1 pressure a game? That's certainly a possibility if he gets rushed back. So even the name is daunting, but he himself might not be that daunting player if he comes back. So it's going to be a tough one this Sunday. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth on the call. Probably the worst news of all. Goff attempting to hit 40 touchdowns. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he's able to, with the way that this offense they know they are going to have to keep up with the depleted defense, and because they just know that in advance, they're able to. It's unbelievable, but it is true. That is what is going to happen. The Lions offense, even against a very good Minnesota defense, they are just going to be able to keep up. 41-35, my projected final. I have little confidence in Jake Bates. He got hurt last week a little bit, had that thirst trap on national television that, of course, I missed. But I saw all over Twitter, all over the place. But he's got a big leg, not the most accurate guy. Will Reichard, though, he missed a 50-something yarder short. I don't trust Minnesota's kicking either. And honestly, I think whoever comes out of the NFC, I think they're playing Buffalo. I don't see a situation. I don't think Kansas City is going to the Super Bowl. I don't. And Lamar Jackson has trouble in the playoffs. Josh Allen's at least had a few playoff runs in his past. Lamar, only 2 playoff wins. But I'm honestly terrified for the game. It's not going to be an enjoyable game to watch. It is not going to be a game where you can just sit back and watch this Sunday night. This is going to be a game where you're standing up, pacing, feeling absolutely terrified the entire time. I'll probably be live tweeting during it. Follow me on Twitter at Tate's Taint. You heard that right. That is at Tate's Taint. I'll probably post the link to this episode on there. But Lions, Vikings this Sunday night, 41-35 is my final. Lions get the win, get the division for the second straight year, get the 1 seed with a 15-win regular season. Vikings, 14-3, get the wild card. Sam Darnold magic run kind of ends. I don't know. If the Vikings do, by the way, get the 5 seed, playing at Tampa, not an easy place. I can see a world where Tampa gets out of there with the win in the wild card. And I will say this for the record, in case things go poorly. I can very easily imagine this Sunday night a situation where the Vikings blow out the Lions. I don't really have a situation in my head. I can't rationalize one where the Lions blow out the Vikings. I think the Lions are going to win, but the team that is built to blow out the other one right now would be the Vikings blowing out the Lions. I'll end on that. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Might be 7 months from now because I'm not the most consistent uploader. See you guys.